Bama dips back into the portal to get a big offensive lineman.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by TurboTax. We'll talk about TurboTax in just a little bit. Want to thank you every day for joining every day because you have helped make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network there is. And we got an email today, like for last year, Locked On Bama was the number 5 among the college Locked Ons and number 17 among all Locked Ons. So we appreciate you guys a ton in terms of listens and views and whatever. So Jimmy, Alabama raids the portal again, and they get a big offensive lineman, this time a transfer from Mississippi State, a big dude who's had a lot of experience in the SEC. I'm not going to sit here and sell this as Jacarius Peak because it's not, but it is a position of need. And if you can give me a guy who has started 12 games in the SEC, then I think that is a very positive thing.
There's nothing, at all to question this. This is a great take. And at best, you have your starting left tackle for East Carolina, for the East Carolina game. And at worst, you have a guy that's going to add a ton of competition to the left tackle spot because Jackson Lloyd would like that spot. Ty Haywood would like that spot. I think even Nick Brooks that you bought in from Texas, he was a left tackle at Texas for most of 2025, actually, before they moved him inside the guard once the season began. So now you have multiple options. And when you don't have the obvious first-round pick, like you had in Caden Proctor a year ago, the next best scenario, in my mind, is a competition at which so now you're going to feel good about whoever wins the competition. And it doesn't really matter which one it is, right? Whoever wins that deep of a competition between quality athletes that either have experience and talent or a lot of talent and just not much experience yet, you'll feel good about that. And whoever doesn't win the left tackle job can be a backup at right tackle, can slide inside to guard like Nick Brooks did last year at Texas. So this is just a great ad and sort of fell in Alabama's lap. Mississippi State brings in Jordan Seaton to take a look around, and the current left tackle's like, fine, this is how you feel about me? Deuces.
Yeah, that's the drawback to bringing dudes in just to look around because I don't think Mississippi State was ever a real threat to get Jordan Seaton, and now you lose your starting left tackle. But, Mississippi State's loss is Alabama's game, and we need the depth there. We need some guys that can come in and compete. And I don't think Alabama's done in the portal. I mean, they're still hot and heavy after Nico Brown, and would certainly like to get him. How many wide receivers are we up to? Do we only have 6 or 7?
There's 8.
8? Okay.
There's 8, but that's not a good number. 9 would be much better. 10 even better. So I think they're going to continue to evaluate. There's word. They're possibly looking at an Idaho State guy. Nico Brown, I'm not sure how that's going to work out. I have to remember it's not that Alabama wouldn't want Nico Brown. It's about what's this going to cost because, he has a certain value to them. And as Nico goes around and makes these trips, it could be, speculating, could be that somebody's like, hey, we'll give you a scholarship and $150,000. And maybe Alabama's not feeling that for him. And that's kind of what happens. It's not that we don't want you. It's just that we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But we'll do this. And I hope that's good enough because Alabama's got a pretty strict thing that I'm fully on board with of not overpaying. And some kids, some kids want $3 million and that's overpaying. Other kids want $250,000 and that's overpaying some. But they make their decision based on what they perceive the production is going to be and price it from there.
Are you a little surprised? I know Nick Anderson got back in the portal. He went from Oklahoma to LSU last year. Didn't really make a dent.
Yeah.
And then he got back in the portal, and it looks like he's going to end up at Kentucky. Are you a little surprised maybe Alabama didn't kick the tires there?
Maybe, but what surprises me, period, is that he didn't have a good year at LSU. I mean, why not? I mean, I was anticipating him being highly impactful and it didn't happen. Again, this could be a cost thing. Could be a role thing. You know, Alabama's pretty spoken for, frankly, at wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. I think we know who those two guys are. Alabama, kind of lost wide receiver 3 to the portal in Isaiah Horton, but they've got good options there. Noah Rogers is very capable of winning that third spot. And Rico Scott, Derek Meadows, and CD Morgan will all have a legitimate opportunity to win it too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Derek Meadows and CD Morgan specifically, just because they're so big. And right now, you think about Lottie Brooks and Ryan Williams and even Rico Scott. I mean, Rico Scott reminds me more of John Mechie. I think we've talked about that.
About big, I don't mean he's tall, but man, Rico Scott is ripped up.
He's bulked up.
Yeah, he's built no different than our linebackers. He's just a little more compact.
Yeah. And look, I would love to get another receiver, and maybe it's not all done. Maybe somebody from Miami or Indiana gets in the portal. I tell you, it's a little weird to me. The Mississippi State transfer that's coming in, it said he got in the portal yesterday. Now, does that mean he got in the portal and the paperwork just wasn't processed to him?
Correct.
Okay.
But
that's a long time for the paperwork not to be processed. But there was a holiday. There was
a holiday. The holiday kicked it over one extra day. As a matter of fact, there could be names that come out today that are in the portal, and it's news today. So it's only became news that this kid was in the portal yesterday. But what the rules require is he obviously informed Mississippi State Friday night before midnight, I intend to enter the portal. That's all it takes. At that point, you're in. Then it's up to Mississippi State, because Mississippi State is actually the people that enter the information into the portal. I bet, without knowing, but this is a good bet, I bet what happened is when the kid informed Mississippi State he was going to the portal, Mississippi State also spent a couple of days trying to recruit him back. This is not somebody they wanted to lose. So that may have been why it was pushed, because they don't have to, by rule, put his name in until Tuesday, Wednesday. So my guess is that's kind of what happened there.
And it is interesting because we do play Mississippi State next year. So maybe he will have a little extra incentive. Of course, we also play Texas A&M, who got Isaiah Horton and Wilkin Formby. So, I mean, you're going to have a lot of these crossover moments because things are so wonky, because there are no rules, and the rules that are there are very ambiguous and weird. And we're going to talk about all that in the second segment because, man, this Charles Bediako thing has set off a firestorm on Twitter. And it's just, I was on radio at lunch today with Doug Amos, and, he had the same feeling I did. And we'll talk about that. Do need to tell you about TurboTax, though, man. Tax season's coming up, y'all. And like the NCAA, you might not understand their rules, but the tax man cometh. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life this year. TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every single deduction you are due. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 smacks, all in. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment with a TurboTax expert today. Jimmy Stein got there. Okay.
That Jimmy Stein guarantee is starting to sound about like what it's worth.
Well, I'm seeing how fast I listened to Rap God today earlier from Eminem, and I was like, maybe I can say something really fast like him for just a second.
So, yeah, it's like the lawyer thing at the end of the lawyer advertising. No representation is made that the quality of legal services provided. That sort of thing.
Yeah,
you're just, it's like
no representation made. Yeah,
exactly.
And that there should be something illegal about that. Like we have these dire warnings that we say very fast that nobody can read. So anyway, Charles Bediako. Okay, I'm going to say this again to be clear. I don't like what's happening as a basketball fan, but Alabama has found something that they think they can loophole this thing through. And if they can, I mean, he would make the team better 100%. So I think you go for it. Now, my argument when I was on the radio with Doug Amos was that, okay, look, you got the Europeans. I mean, the Jocic guy or Jovic or whatever his name is that plays for Auburn. He was a European pro, apparently. The kid at Baylor is a European pro or something. And then there was a guy at Illinois, same situation. So why do they get to play? And Charles Bediako doesn't. And Doug, again, playing devil's advocate, is like, well, they never actually signed NBA contracts. And I'm like, well, why does it matter if it's NBA? I mean, pro is pro. And I'm fine with saying no pros can play, period, end of discussion. If you got paid to play, you're done. Yeah. Okay. But if you let some of them do it, you got to let the other ones do it. Once you open Pandora's box, it's done. Now, if you want to nitpick about which one is which and the rules clearly state and the blah, 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 and I've seen people say on Twitter that don't understand legalese, like me, but you do, Jimmy. So. And that is a Jimmy Stein guarantee. That's a real one. Not kidding this time. But if a judge issues something, a temporary restraining order saying, hey, you can't punish Alabama or Charles Bediako for anything they do while this is still in limbo, then if you punish them for it, I would assume you'd be in trouble and liable for something, correct?
Well, I don't think you can be held in contempt of court when you're not a party before the court. But the NCAA is a party before the court in this case. So, yes, the NCAA could, for instance, what if the NCAA says, well, we don't care what the judge says, Bediako's still ineligible. That would be contempt of court, or very possibly you could be held in contempt of court. Now, would that mean Bediako's in the games, or I don't know. I don't think the NCAA is going to defy this court order, but I think they're going to fight it. And I do think we've yet again reached another tipping point in how things are going to be handled going forward. I'm the same way as you and Doug. I mean, again, I think this ruling is terrible for college sports, but awesome for Alabama. And as an Alabama fan, I'm excited to possibly see Angry Chuck on the court again. And I realize how impactful this is to Alabama's basketball team. But like you, Luke, I'm for figuring out how to put all this toothpaste back into the tube, because I don't think the kid at Baylor should be playing. I don't think anyone that's ever played 1 minute of G League basketball should be playing college basketball. I don't think one player that's played 1 minute of European professional basketball should be playing college. I'm for none of it. I wish, but if you're going to allow all that to happen, I don't really understand a great argument for keeping Bediako out. Keep in mind, folks, these arguments are now going to extend to football. They're going to extend to baseball, anything that has professional, high-level professional sports. Again, what's to stop now NFL players from not liking where they're drafted and trying to go back to college? I mean, what's going to stop them now? So that's why I don't like any of this. But it may be where we're headed.
This is why that even though it sounds so ridiculous back then, that when you had Ohio State getting in trouble because somebody paid for a tattoo or whatever the situation was, apparently my family is home. I don't know if you can hear my dog in the background.
I was going to say the dog probably hates the Bediako ruling.
This dog just hates the ruling. But so, while back in the day, like the tattoo thing, or like, the joke was you could lose your eligibility for buying a hamburger or somebody buying you a hamburger. I see why the NCAA was so hard and fast on that. Like, this is the rule. You can't buy them nothing. Yeah. Because if you say, well, you can buy them a hamburger, well, what about a Baconator? Okay, what about a Baconator combo?
It's like they better understood the slippery slope back then.
Right. Yeah. But they understood the slippery slope, but they were also greedy themselves. They were like, we're just going to stand at the top of the slope with all the money. And so they could have figured something out, but they didn't. And now it's complicated. So again, I don't understand anybody's argument that says, hey, the European guys are different because they played in a different pro league than NBA. Well, why is that different? Well, it just is. I mean, it's not the NBA. Okay, but they got paid to play, right? And by the way, you essentially get paid to play now. They don't call it that because that would be, immoral for whatever reason, but you get paid to play now. So it's really going from one pro league to another pro league.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's true. And a long time ago, and people won't remember this because no one listened to the shows as old as I am. No one will remember this, but back a long time ago, the judicial opinion about NCAA stuff, and I'm going back to the 70s, 60s, all that. It used to be this. It used to be, well, the NCAA is a voluntary organization and they have their own rules. And if you're going to be in this voluntary organization that you agreed to join and you knew what the rules were, then why are you coming to us? We got nothing to do with this.
Right.
If you don't like what the NCAA is doing, then drop out. You don't have to do that if you don't like it. But you got to. But now, fast forward 50 years. Now, every time the NCAA makes some sort of ruling, run right to court. Don't just run to court. Run to your local court with a local judge.
With a judge that went to your university.
You don't have to go to a federal court. You just go to the local judge who runs for re-election every 4 years, and wants to please his electorate, chock full of fans of the local school. It's crazy what that has devolved into. And at some point, I want to look at all the NCAA schools, and I'm not speaking to Alabama here. I'm speaking to, like, for instance, Texas Tech as it relates to NIL. Y'all join the NCAA. At some point, y'all have to agree to abide by the NCAA's rules and not just constantly run to the courthouse because something didn't go your way. That just kind of feels like where we're at in college sports, and I think it stinks. But that said, I don't want to be too negative about this because I am legit excited about Bediako being on Alabama's basketball team, and he is within the window. Everyone should understand that. By the window, what I mean is this would be his, quote, redshirt senior season at Alabama. It's not like he's 28 years old and has been playing in the G League for 6. No, his time at college still exists. He's within his, as they call it, the clock starts when you enroll, and then you got 5 years. He's in that 5th year here. So it's not crazy. It's not like bringing James Robinson back. I mean, it's not like that. He's within, and that Baylor kid that's like, well, he got a bunch of years. Yeah. Because he's literally like only enrolled in college originally a year or two ago. I mean, so he's got multiple years left.
He's got all 4 years.
Yeah, based on
that. Yeah, that was something Doug said. He was like, "Well, the other guys didn't ever go to college." I'm like, "Well, what does that matter if they're still within the window?" I don't understand. Like, I'm again, and I had to say this so many times. I'm against what's going on because. And he said, well, tell the truth. What if it were going on at Tennessee or Auburn or something? I said, I really believe I would be against it and I would hate it, and I might not even admit it. But in my heart of hearts, I'd go, dang, I wish we had thought of that. Because I can tell you right now, all the Auburn people who are just, this is shameful. It was not too terribly long ago all over their message boards. They're like, we got this G League guy that we may be getting. So it's the same thing.
Pat Forty had a tweet today that really set me off. And by the way, I like Pat. Pat's one of the smartest guys out there. I hate that I got this upset over something he said because he's a bright guy and I really like him. But he was talking about how this is outrageous. What a hypocrite. Because just 2 weeks ago, Nate Oates said these G League guys shouldn't be able to play college basketball. And look at him now. As long as it improves Alabama, to heck with your ethics. Pat, is that really what you think? Nate? What Nate is saying is just what me and Luke are saying. I hate all this. I don't want any of it to be the case. But if it's the case, I'm not going to be disadvantaged. Other schools are taking advantage of this stuff. So we're going to do it too. It's not my fault that someone somehow let this happen. He said, I don't want any of it to happen. But if it's going to happen, it's kind of like when Nick Saban used to complain about hurry up, no huddle, and all that. Yep. Nick hated all these changes in offense. And then he adapted it and people thought he was being a hypocrite. No, he wasn't. Nick was saying, I don't want anybody to do this. But if y'all are going to allow people to do it, then we're going to do it too. And we're going to beat the heck out of you with the same thing you let everyone else do.
And one other thing I said on the radio was, okay, let me put it this way. If you have an accountant and he finds a loophole that says, there's a loophole here, I'm going to save you $10,000 in taxes this year. But they're probably going to close the loophole and it's ambiguous, but I think we can get by with it. are you going to go, no, 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 my morals and my stance would be, I must pay Uncle Sam that additional. In fact, I'm going to pay $10,500 for the mere thought of it. I mean, no,
that's exactly right.
It's again, it's a loophole that needs to be closed. So the NCAA could have closed a lot of, and there are a ton of these loopholes. So close them or get the 64 or 48 teams together that are going to end up breaking away, which we all know is going to happen, and get them to agree to a set of rules like the NFL. Hey, another thing, the NFL, we keep turning to the NFL, but without the NFL rules. And, in the NFL, you can't even interview, apparently, somebody that's still in the playoffs. Do you think, what is LSU and Ole Miss doing? The NFL would say, no, all of that is illegal. Every single bit of that.
I'm starting to think I've hated college football's march towards the NFLization of college. I've hated it. But now, because of all this inconsistency and craziness, we probably need to fully embrace the NFL model to restore some sanity, because it's total insanity out there now. But it's crazy to call Nate Oates hypocritical over not allowing his team to be disadvantaged while others take advantage of what they can obviously do these days.
Yeah, there's no doubt. All right, Jimmy Stein's roster countdown rolls on next. All right, Jimmy, roster countdown. Two more players.
Funny, since we added a player to the roster today, all the numbers shift around. Now the order, I put our new player, Javen, I put him way up there. He ain't down here near the bottom. He's a little closer to the top. But it did change the numbers, right? So we're probably doing number 52 and 51 again. But the new number 52 is Duke Williams. I talked about this with Duke Johnson. I have a thing. I call him Duke Williams all the time.
You even texted me and said on the countdown today is Duke Williams.
Williams. That's why I just read. And you're like, who's Duke? I call Duke Johnson.
I was like, dang, we're doing this portal. Charles Bediako set off a firestorm. We're going to get old players from Auburn.
That must be where I get it from. I imagine what happened is the very first time I ever heard Duke Johnson's name, I said Duke Williams out loud. So now I have to do it a million times. Duke Johnson. I apologize, Duke. I'll get it right one day. Duke is a heck of an athlete and a good player. And much of like what I said on the last show about Abdul Sanders applies here. No one should be shocked if Duke makes a run to the top of the depth chart this spring. A great example of the depth of talent on this roster that I have this kid down as the 52nd best player on the roster. When we redo the rankings after the spring, this kid could be in the 30s or the 20s. I mean, he's got that sort of ability. Now, what kind of charge will he make? I'm excited to see. He may be the best pure athlete in the inside linebacker room, which is a heck of an advantage to him. So he's one to watch. This will be year 2 for him. Typically, I think players at his position are more likely to make a real run unless they're a freak in year 3. But Duke could be ahead of the curve because he's so athletic. 51, another super interesting guy that has one heck of an opportunity this spring. Fatutoa Henry, formerly known as Cavante Henry. He's decided, I think, to go by his middle name. I think is what
he's like. Cavante's too easy for everybody to say and spell. Let's go with Fatutoa.
Yeah, because he's not going to walk in like one of those places, the coffee mugs where it's got everybody's name in the world.
The license plates at Disney.
Yeah. He's not going to find a Fatutoa, probably not.
You remember The Simpsons when Bart was looking for those at Itchy and Scratchy Land? It was like they had Bert, Burke, and then Bort, but they didn't have Bart. That's exactly how it would be,
But this kid kind of redshirted last year for a JUCO year, or we only saw him a couple times late in the year. He has a heck of an opportunity. This guy was playing bandit last year, and he was kind of the 4th bandit. And you had to be thinking, gosh, I'm 4th. I don't know if I'm ever going to play here. Well, the first team guy, Overton, he graduated. And the second team guy, Jordan Renaud, he's now at Ole Miss. And the third team guy, Keon Keeley, he's now at Notre Dame. At one point, just about a week ago, Fatutoa Henry woke up in Tuscaloosa and went, oh my gosh, I'm the starter. I mean, that sort of is what happened there. Now, of course, Alabama addressed bandit heavily in the portal, They have freshmen coming in to play Bandit that they're very excited about. So nothing will be given to Henry, but he's gone from a pretty crowded out situation to an excellent opportunity. That's what the spring is. Obviously, have him down here at 51. That means I'm not projecting as of today that he's going to end up Bandit 1. I wouldn't have him at 51 otherwise. But what I'm telling you guys, he has an opportunity to do that. And he'll be a guy much like Duke Johnson that we just talked about that might be in a much different place when we do our post-spring roster rankings in advance of the season. And speaking of that, here we are on Thursday of this week, Luca. We're just 46 days away from spring practice start. Just 46 days, and we're on 51, which means we're 5 guys behind. But we'll do 2 a day till we catch up.
By the way, I'm wearing the shirt my Las Vegas buddies out of Las Vegas Bama Club gave me this. They saw me when I went out for the Alabama basketball stuff, but I appreciate them.
Cool.
One other thing I want to throw out there, because this just came across the Tweetiverse. The most top 10 finishes in college football history. Alabama's number 1. How many do you think they have, Jimmy?
Oh, in history. I've not looked at what you're talking about. Let's go with 43.
49.
Oh, wow. Came pretty close.
Ohio State and Oklahoma are tied for second with 45. Then Michigan, Notre Dame at 41. Then a big dip. Georgia, Nebraska at 30. Penn State at 29. The next is, then Texas at 29. Tennessee at 25. And Auburn has 19. Florida has 19.
Probably a great way to gauge who are the greatest college football programs of all time. That's a pretty good way to, because AP poll, I think, goes back to 1933 or 1930.
It's not, I want to say 34, but I'm not positive.
Yeah. So back around that time. So you're talking about what, that's 80, 90 years of college football now. And so that's a pretty good, sample size of like who are the greatest, because football before that point, I mean, to say that it's nothing like today, heck, I could say that 2013 looks nothing like today, really, but 1913 certainly doesn't.
Why is the term blue blood? Do you know? I mean, I know what it means, but I'm saying, like,
it's an
why?
old term. I don't.
I mean, why would very rich people have blue blood, or very rich, or
well, in the olden days,
incredibly successful people?
Well, I would love to tell you, because it would sound so cool if I said, well, in the old days, rich people did have blue blood. That would be such a good, that would be great, but I don't think that's true. I wonder if it has to do with the prominence of your veins, which was a Spinal Tap joke. Remember the guitar player Nigel Tufnell was wearing the shirt and green skeletons. The guy's like, yeah, but they're not really green, and he's like, but they are green.
But
if you look
I can't ever get, every time I think Spinal Tap, and I can't bring myself to watch the new one, but I can't ever get off
5 minutes at a time.
Oh, okay.
I watch 5 minutes of it, pause it, watch, come back, watch 5 more minutes. It's pretty amusing. If you like the first one, it's amusing enough. It's amusing enough.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Hey, listen to this. I just looked it up. Why are royalty called blue bloods? It was not uncommon in olden times for European nobility to have skin that appeared to have a blue cast. The bluish or sometimes greenish discoloration of their skin was often caused by a condition known as arguria. What is that? I gotta look it up now. I didn't know I was about to look up all this stuff. I just wanted to find what. So
look up one thing.
I know. I don't want to learn any more than one thing per day.
I was wondering, literally, like a smart answer was, would the diets of the olden times wealthy kind of change the tone of your appearance because they ate so much healthier than the peasants like me and you?
They ate so much. They also ate copious amounts, and they had vomitoriums and. A gout was a rich man's disease,
Yep.
By the way,
I'm going to say it again. King's disease. Yeah.
I'm going to give y'all a warning. I've only had gout once in my life, and I used to make fun of people with the gout. It's the worst pain ever. I mean, it was so painful, and I'm so grateful I'm over it.
Big toe. Most people that have gout.
It was my right big toe. And Jimmy, I kid you not, if the blanket would hit it, it was as if somebody had just hit me with a baseball bat. It was like I was in that movie Misery, and what's her name came over there, and I got hobbled.
You got hobbled, by Kathy Bates, well-known hobbler.
She is a hobbler if there ever was a hobbler. All right, that's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.